Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. I thought I would duck under the canopy here. Been out working in the garden and it's getting kind of hot this afternoon. Also wanted to talk to you about a few things that are popping up in the news, but really this will be more like a fireside chat without the fire. Before I get that going, I want to mention once again, because it's next week, it's only a week away, our Prepared Homestead Expo. That's the 26th and 27th. That is in Texas County, Missouri. For those of you kind of in a driving distance, I get it, gas prices are high and all that kind of stuff, so that's understandable. But this is a free event. We've got numerous vendors, at least 2 or 3 dozen vendors lined up, and there's still some space for more vendors. So if you'd like to set up a table to sell something or display, show something, or promote your business or organization, certainly let us know. But this is a pretty cool preparedness and homesteading event that we've planned. There's going to be food there, speakers. It's a big property, so there'll be a lot of stuff to do. And the big thing is, the most important thing is to meet other people like you, to build connections. So that is happening next week. You can go to preparedhomesteadexpo.com and you can find out more about it. I do want to announce something today, and I don't have any in my hand to show you, but I do have pictures. We have had some special t-shirts made up for the event. These will only be sold at the event. I'm not selling these online, and they're a very limited number. I didn't have the money to put up to get enough so that everyone that shows up can be there, but for a small fee. And we're determining right now how much we've got into the shirts total, and then we'll this is going to help us pay for the event, because it's a free event for all of you, and we're just trying to recoup some of the costs of putting this on, of renting all the stuff, and having toilet service stuff come in, and trash service, and all the kind of stuff that goes on when you put on a big event like this. So anyways, these are some pictures of the t-shirts that'll be available at the event. So that's pretty cool. I hope many of you can make it. There's going to be several hundred people there, maybe well over 1,000 from this kind of area of Missouri and northern Arkansas, and probably a few people from neighboring states. So if you want to meet others that are like yourself, be able to freely talk about things that are important to you and not be looked at like you have 3 heads, this is a good place to come and do that. 26th and 27th of May. It gets started probably around 9 o'clock every day, each day, and then we'll end around 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Give the vendors and people time to kind of put their things up and us to clean up. But come on out if you can. Go to preparedhomesteadexpo.com and you can find out more information about it. All right, so yesterday evening, I put up a video, and in that, I once again, because this is certainly not the first time this has come out, where there has been heads of banks warning people that the bad times are coming. If you remember a while back, and not just heads of banks, but heads of these big investment firms. And for those of you that's been in this game for a while, you all know that the banking cartels, I mean, they're part of the top tier people that rule the world. These are the ones that are the movers and shakers. And so when they're telling us, this is what's coming, I think it's something that's worth listening to, because they certainly know, and I don't think they're doing it necessarily for our benefit. They're just letting us know that, hey, this is about what's going to happen. This is what we're getting ready to do to you. Several months ago, we showed on here that one of the former executives of BlackRock was coming out and saying that the end is near, when he was talking about the economy, that the economy is on the verge of collapse. It is going to collapse. And then not too long after that, we had the current CEO of BlackRock, saying in the news that you better buckle up because the economy is about to take a nosedive and it's going to be bad and there's going to be shortages and there's going to be inflation like no one's ever seen. And he said these younger generations, they're just not tough enough, that they're just it's going to hit them hard. That was the head of BlackRock, and BlackRock is considered one of the most powerful companies on the planet. You know, they control $10 trillion in assets. Yesterday, I talked about the governor of the Bank of England, you know, one of the top central banks in the world. And then we also talked about JP Morgan Bank coming out with some information. Well, today it's the same thing. It's the same thing today. We've got Wells Fargo Bank CEO saying that we most definitely are heading into a recession, and that it's only going to get worse. That, you know, everything looks like that we're headed into what's going to get worse. Okay, and I don't think that's any surprise to any of us. But I think what it is it's more confirmation, because I suspect that most of you, because well, you're human. I mean, I think this is kind of a normal human thing, that when you're preparing for this kind of stuff and in the back of your mind you're expecting it to, you know, things are going to get bad, there's always this little bit of doubt in the back of your mind. You're like, man, what if I'm overreacting to this? What if what if all the rest of the people out there that are completely ignoring what's going on and living life like normal, what if they're right and I'm wrong? You know, what if I'm just off and I've allowed myself to become too hyped up over all this, and in the end it's really not going to be that bad? Well, you have news articles like this to confirm that what you're doing is the right thing, that things are bad and they are getting worse, and every week and almost every day there's something new. And once again, I have something new. Not that it's, again, a big shock. Well, is there anything that's shocking anymore? I mean, I don't think so. For the last 2 years, I was, you know, my wife and I were talking last night. I said, remember 2 years ago when people were doing the 2020 bingo thing and all the, you know, the Knicks thing around the corner? And it's been 2 years from that, and we're still doing this. And it's still getting worse. So here's the next new thing. Grid regulators are warning that by this summer there could be large swaths of the United States that could lose power. Now, this has already been happening. Okay, California, this isn't new to you, so it's probably not a big shock to anyone in California. This is stuff's been going on for years. You have rolling brownouts and stuff like that. But it's happening in Texas. They've had to shut down some different facilities in Texas because of lack of different supplies or people or whatever. But what they're saying is that because of employee shortages, because of fuel shortages, because of distribution, you know, some of these power plants, it's maybe it's coal that they're burning and they're not getting the coal because of maybe train problems, because of all these different things that are happening, okay, all hitting at once, that they predict that over this summer that there could be a lot of blacked out area. There could be kind of rolling blackouts, different areas where the power grid goes down. And they're saying basically everything from the upper Midwest out west, from starting from Michigan going west, could be in jeopardy of seeing some grid failures. And then, of course, the East Coast is dealing with diesel shortages, and by the summer, who knows if they'll even have any diesel available at all. This is just another thing, folks. I mean, you add this on top of everything that's going on. And I mean, are people going to start waking up? Is this one going to be Putin's fault too? I bet it will be. It'll all be Putin's fault that this is happening. This is certainly something that you need to be prepared for. You know, how ready are you to deal with a grid failure? not necessarily a grid failure that it's never coming back, like say an EMP type of failure. But I'm talking about, it goes down and it's down for a few days, or it's up and down for days or weeks because of this. How ready are you? I mean, many places in the country already has been dealing with some excessive heat. What's it going to be like this summer in some of those places? How are you going to keep cool? How are you going to keep your food cool? These are some things you need to be thinking about, because we have regulators warning Americans, sending out a warning. I doubt that they would be doing this if they weren't pretty sure it's going to happen, saying, hey, large amounts of the United States, not just California or little places in Texas where, we're talking large swaths of the United States. Over half of the United States, from what they're saying in the article, is in jeopardy of having some blackouts or rolling blackouts throughout the summer because of all the problems in the system. It's not getting any better. How many more bank CEOs do you need for you to kind of believe that things are pretty bad, okay? And they're getting worse. And this isn't just some kind of transitory problem that's just going to fix itself, in a few weeks or a few months or by next year. Because just as we've seen since 2020, leading up till now, the problems that were happening that started in 2020, we're still feeling the repercussions of those problems now. I mean, that's part of the supply chain problem. That's part of the inflation and all that. It's the repercussions. So the things that are happening now with the farming, fertilizer, fuel shortages, war, countries shutting down exports, all that kind of stuff that's happening right now. When will we actually feel the full brunt of the repercussions of this? It could be next year or the year after. And then, of course, there'll be more things that's happened between now and then, because it's a domino effect. That's how collapses work, folks. This is not a Hollywood movie, okay? In a Hollywood movie, you sit there for 90 minutes and you watch problems happen, and by the end of it, the collapse of a civilization has happened. And it took a whole 90 minutes for it to happen. That's not that's not the real life. Real life is it's just one thing after another, which causes another, until it starts building up speed, picking up speed, and then you start to get to this point where it's almost like exponential growth of problems, where it's just one thing after another and it's picking up speed. And then at some point, we look back and we realize we're sinking. We're in the midst of a collapse, and it's too late. It's too late to stop it. We can't pull back now. We're in the nosedive, folks. And for those of you that are pilots, I'm not one, but even if you're not a pilot, you probably know this, that you kind of, once you get into a nosedive in a plane, there's a certain point that you probably can't pull up out of it. Early on, you might be able to pull up out of it and get that plane, back where it's supposed to. But at some point in that nosedive, it's too late. And at some point, Americans are going to wake up and realize that we're at that point. That we're at that point in the nosedive that it's too late. Right now, the media, the Hollywood, the politicians, all the pathetic news people and stuff, they're selling Americans a bill of goods, this lie, and they're buying it because they don't know what else to do, so they just have to believe it, because certainly, these people certainly wouldn't lie to them. At some point, they're going to wake up and realize that it's all a bunch of what, and that we are in that nosedive, and there's no pulling out. We've passed that point, point of no return. We've crossed the Rubicon, and there's no pulling up out of it. And once we hit that point, that's when I think things are going to start to see some pretty craziness. When the food is really starting to dry up, or there's gas rationing, or people can't get the food that they want. That's when they start to realize we've been lied to. We're past the point. This isn't transitory. This isn't just going away. It's getting worse. And that's when you start seeing what I and many others consider one of the biggest threats during an SHTF, and that's the people. It's not necessarily the government trying to take your rights. That's a big threat. It's not necessarily, you know, loss of economy and trade and value system, all that those are big things. But when the people panic, when they lose their self, okay? When civility gets thrown out the window and they realize that we're past the point of no return, it'll be like stuff that, you know, the video I showed last night from Sri Lanka. It'll be like that, except worse. It'll be like what we saw during the Summer of Love, you know, in Portland and Detroit and St. Louis and Chicago and many other cities, except it'll be more widespread. And it'll be more passion in it, because they won't be doing it because of something they believe in. They'll be doing it because they're starving to death. Because they're terrified that they're going to starve to death. They're terrified that they're not going to have anything. And when we get to that point, that's when it's on. I mean, there's nothing that can be done to stop it at that point. And that's when I think, of course, you know, people with the World Economic Forum and United Nations and other globalist entities will step in and say, well, we have a solution. You know, you need to sign over your sovereignty to us. You need to put these chips and stuff in you and let us monitor you constantly, and, you know, let us have complete control of your money, and give us all of your property, and no more private business, and no more public, you know, private lands and things like that. You know, they have solutions for all of it. I mean, they create the problems. They're certainly going to have a solution to it. And that's exactly what they're waiting for. So, folks, when you see these CEOs and these regulators and these other people that are in positions that actually kind of know things, and they're sending out warnings, I think it's worth listening to, and I think it's more confirmation that what you're doing is the right thing, that you're on the right path of getting your houses in order. Get your heart in order, your soul right with the one in heaven, get with the Father, get your family in order, get your preps in order, get yourself self-sufficient, get it all ready, because the turn that we are taking as a people, as a country, as a civilization, as a society, it's not a good one. And I think we have some pretty dark days ahead of us, way more ahead of us than what we've already seen. I think we're really just getting started. We need to start getting ready, folks. Don't give up. Don't lose hope. Don't get discouraged. Don't get, you know, overwhelmed. Keep at it, and know that what you're doing is the right thing to do, because it's the thing that's going to protect your family through all of this. I mean, that's just all there is to it. All right, folks. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.